Yeah, it's a big deal. I think this is a really nice pick from EDG, not only because of that, but it also is a takeaway from Hoya.
All right, let's see what the answer is. You're going to have something in the top lane for the potential of this Varus going into
Surely
the top.
this is a Karma, right? Surely it's Shin Karma.
I mean, what else do you have? Like, Bard's down. You could go and engage support, but then you're giving over the Karma. I mean, maybe the idea is we give over Karma, take a Leona, a Rel for ourselves, maybe a Nautilus to preempt for that, but then you walk into something like a Braum. Instead, it'll just be the jungler taking up this Wukong. It did get buffed on this patch.
Did, but that's a really good pick into Wukong most of the time, and Karma Mantra Shield can usually give you enough speed to get away.
Oh,
you pick up Shurelia's as well. It feels like it's already really difficult for NIP to try to play. I think EDG have consistently had the edge in a lot of these drafts. We'll see if it turns around here in Game 3, as that Nautilus you mentioned does get locked in.
So the problem with this is, yes, it's the option into enchanters that we've seen when you're not going a ranged support of your own. It's not good into Trundle. You can block his hook with the wall, you can block him, he's really awkward, and it's a target for Xiaohao to subjugate, steal the prots, very easy to pick off. EDG's comp is super nice. They have either probably the most pushing bot lane you could have with the things left open that isn't, Kate Lux or Caitlyn Karma. Like, Varus Karma is an extremely pushing bot lane if you want to take the Varus bot with the lethality build. Or you've got, like, what if we take Caitlyn? We take Caitlyn, maybe take, you would need some engage, so it'd have to be like Galio mid or some real cook. So that's the only concern. If you take this Varus top and take a Caitlyn, you don't really have a way of engaging other than we just run at them. For NIP, however, you do have a ton of ways of engaging. The only way you win this game is by closing the gap.
NIP not convinced that Varus is going bot lane. They banned the Senna. We saw a Sylas ban, which meant that we could have seen an Ahri, but that got banned. And now looking through the picks, it's an Aurora into an immediate Victor Renekton response. So this Varus is going to the bottom side.
Yep.
And you don't have a whole lot of CC here. We're talking Renekton stun. We're talking Victor's Gravity Well. And we're talking Chains of Corruption and Karma the Tether. These are very conditional, but if they land, it does give great ability for this Renekton and this Trundle to play. Final pick for NIP, cycling through a couple of ones here. If you go with Meatball, you're just going to lose all those stats whenever you get ulted by the Trundle. And here's the Zehen that has fallen out of the meta a bit, but is now going to be picked up by Hoya.
Yep. I think the Yorick is the worst choice. I don't think it does too well into Renekton, personally. But for NIP, they've just kind of let EDG get what they wanted, and they say, okay, we're just going to run at you all game. We have so much dive, we have so much rush comp, like identity, with the Wukong, with the Zehen that actually can fight against the Renekton at timers and win. You've got the Aurora for backline access and burst, and this Jhin Nautilus for a ton of front-to-back potential as well. Not a ton of consistent damage from NIP. On EDG's side, they've got range. They've got pushing bot. They've got pushing mid. They have this Trundle that needs to get activated early. Use your strong bot lane, your strong mid push to invade with the Trundle and get a good lead off to start.
This is something that they have done consistently throughout the year. Just a matter of, can they go and do it again? Can you spring Xiaohao free to be able to make a large impact in this early game, to really throw Guwon off? You were able to do that in game 1. It's why you held such a big lead. Weren't able to convert on it. Don't change what was a winning formula for EDG. When they win the early game, typically they're in a good spot to be able to take the rest of the game away. It didn't work out in game 2, worked out in game 1, go back to it. Summoner's Rift, game 3, 1-1 apiece.
Pretty interesting start here from Leave as a little bit of poke. It will be the poke Varus with Comet, but he's started with the Doran's Bow, which is pretty interesting. With this HUD, we don't get to see the what's it called? Like the adaptive force or the attack speed, if he wants to take either of those. I assume it's just double adaptive force for some more damage. But has the bow for a little bit of early trading. You know, you want to apply that passive as well as you can before you have ult. I think for NIP, the game plan is survive. You need to survive this bot lane. Good hook. Again, you lose half your HP for it, and Zhuo takes nothing. So you're going to need to survive this bot lane, survive any potential mid lane shenanigans, but mostly you need to survive these Trundle invades. If he gets a massive lead, you have to pay the Trundle tax when he walks in, which is, he walks in, that camp is his now. If NIP can get to later on in the game where they're not super worried about the lanes specifically, I think their team fighting is really, really strong.
Level 2 hit by NIP first, but EDG respond pretty quickly in kind. Zhuo walking up, looking for any angle that he can really find. Land the hook down onto Zhuo, but with that shield and the movement speed means that that Deadly Flourish will not be able to land. Guwon going to walk on the bottom side here, gets spotted on this ward, and look at Xiaohao immediately walking down into his own jungle to try to protect against this.
Yep, you can see Guwon going for the ward. In fact, Xiaohao looks like he might want to go across. That little delay is actually going to give Guwon the Gromp. And now run headfirst into an angry troll. He's scared. I guess there is a roam from bot, but this is a really good sign from NIP. Because of Guwon's early pathing, yes, it is on a ward, but it forces EDG's bot lane to play back when they should be playing up because it's Varus Karma. And then Xiaohao doesn't get to do anything in this game. He doesn't get to invade. He doesn't get to, you know, fight Wukong 1v1, which he would love to do. And he even gets invaded.
Standing there, not so menacingly. Not exactly what you were looking for. I want to go and highlight some of these top lane picks because we saw a bit of a different look here from both of these guys, to be honest, in this game. You know, we really think of what both of these guys have picked as like, oh, you know, a couple of stock standard, but this time they kind of break the mold from their usual pickups.
Oh. I think Zhuo might be dead off of that hook if that hit. Doesn't even flash, doesn't even heal for the movement speed, just genuinely sidesteps it. Nice schmoves. Xiaohao looking for a Raptors invade.
Guwon going to be there to snuff it out. He is level 4 to Xiaohao's level 3.
That is a bit scary.
It's not great. Bit of a weird start for Xiaohao. I mean, he's, you know, one camp down essentially now, and I mean, that was that where he just looked at Guwon was confusing and really out of character for him, to be honest.
To be fair though, to NIP, they haven't been dove yet. In fact, they're even winning the early game in terms of jungle. That's something that hasn't happened this series so far. So, upward signs. Nice hook again, but Zhuo will lose half his HP for it.
Thought he was going to lose a little bit more, but Leave elected to hit Assum with the arrow as opposed to Zhuo.
Yeah. I'm actually really... Okay, so maybe it's not the lethality build, because... No, but he has tier. I have no idea. Oh, you know what it is? No, wait, I actually don't know. I thought it was going to be an item. He's got tier, but he's also got a bow. So it's like tier is building into Mana Moon. The bow is building into some kind of on-hit attack item. So you know, normally you would go like a Ghost Blade. Opportunity's been removed. So you can't go that first. Maybe a Hubris. Or I would not even hate to see like the Cyclo Sword. I think Varus can proc that pretty well once you get the enhanced ability. But the bow, having some attack here, I'll have to see what he ends up building into.
Big lead here for the EDG bot lane as they get a good shove, crash that wave, take this dragon. Xiaohao a little bit behind the pace. Guwon is more than happy with that. We're really waiting for him to hit level 6, get that Cyclone. That's where he's really going to start making plays. First dragon of the game going over to EDG. Next objective going to be these grubs in about 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Yep. Both of these top laners known split pushers, but I always worry about giving Grubs over to a team with Trundle on it, because he can immediately just shift gears and start splitting.
This is the quietest early game we've seen in this series so far, which is kind of crazy to say because we're 6 minutes in and there's already been a dragon taken. That was practically on spawn. I'm going to stop looking at Leave's items because I don't like where this is going.
Listen, he doesn't want to hit hard, but he wants to hit fast.
But he also wants a tier. So he's building both builds at once. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to stop looking for a while and maybe I'll check back in a little bit later and
maybe when you're a little bit more pleased, yeah.
Yeah, maybe we won't be. Maybe we'll look back in a while and be upset or confused. Sometimes, you look at pro builds and I'm like, I genuinely have no idea what's going on, and then it works. Like lethal tempo Gnar.
Listen, I will never doubt Hoya again. Catch me building or getting lethal tempo on Gnar. My next game that I play Gnar, I ain't playing Gnar for a while. I'm a dirty Varus top player. A minute until these Grubs are up. Guwon now level 6. Has a beat on Xiaohao for the moment in terms of level, but Xiaohao now just ticking 6, so that immediate window, not going to do too much of it. Just waiting for NIP to find a way into some of these skirmishes, get that Cyclone down, use their superior damage to go and win a fight.
Yanni, you were saying before, let's go on. Go for a bit of a lane gank here, see if this pays off. But you were saying that you're a Jersey driver. Now, I've only been to New York and Brooklyn once. The driving was insane. It was... I can't even imagine doing that. Like, there's no real ridiculously stressful driving in Australia. I mean, Melbourne driving, if anyone's a knower, that sucks because they just have different, laws about turning in certain lanes. But other than that, you guys have, multi-lane highways all over the country. I can't even imagine doing that.
Listen, man, it's not too bad at all. I mean, listen, New York driving never once intimidated me. New York parking really, really stinks. That's the part that I hate the most. ZDZ perhaps getting engaged on with Zhuo having a really nice roam here. Hoya looking to get his passive stacks all the way up, and he will. So even if he goes down, he'll be just fine. The Grim Deliverance, the knockup with the Cyclone is there, and it's first blood going over to Hoya. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, Assum will flash away, and the arrow from Leave rings true.
All right, great cross map. I think ZDZ is saying to himself, why is Zhuo here? But ends up getting a kill in top, but because Zhuo goes top, that leaves Assum way too vulnerable. So it's a 500 gold lead for Hoya plus these grubs, and a 500 gold lead for Leave plus the dragon earlier. So still very even game. He's a player who we've had a lot of conversations about on the broadcast in previous times. Is this a... It is.
Oh, this is a beauty. A beauty of a play onto Assum. You might lose the grubs for it, but it's another arrow through the heart of Assum.
Some Legolas aim right there. Shoots him from the far back. Kind of crazy that in that movie, imagine you're an orc, right? And there's an elf and a dwarf, and they're like killing your friends, and then they're counting for every kill. I don't know if you've seen. I hope you've seen Lord of the Rings, or this reference is gonna completely fall flat.
I'm gonna be honest. I did not enjoy Lord of the Rings.
What? Okay, hold on. I was gonna say you have homework if you haven't seen it. You didn't enjoy it? Pause the game right now. This is a...
I play like Magic the Gathering. Like, I think high fantasy is pretty cool. Dude, I just didn't enjoy it. I know Rafa might be watching and he's like, oh no, Jbetto made a Lord of the Rings reference. And Yanni's gonna have to out himself as somebody who doesn't enjoy Lord of the Rings.
Or like, what is it specifically?
I just didn't like the pacing. It was really slow. I was kind of bored through most of it, to be quite honest with you. I'm not a guy who needs like rah-rah action. I appreciate a good story like the one that EDG and NIP are telling right now, but I need a little bit.
Unfortunately, Yanni, I do see you differently now.
Shame.
You know what? Maybe based, because that's a crazy opinion to say in front of like thousands of people. So, you know, maybe I have more respect for you, but at the same time, it's like, ooh. Because I personally think that it's like the best trilogy of all time. Some of the best film ever made. Again, you're entitled to your opinion. It's wrong, but you are entitled to it.
These teams have played against each other twice before this match. Maybe this could be the new best trilogy of all time, Jbetto. Remember, these guys were knotted up at 3 games apiece, 1-1 overall. Saw Xiaohao get spotted out on that savvy ward right at the lane by NIP, so they're well aware that he's down here, and they are just wasting this Trundle's time right now. The dragon is up, but NIP looking to move. Kair's going to have the first move. Xinyan going to spot him out. And Guwon will make his way down. Maybe we'll see a 3v3 in a moment.
Yep. Remember NIP. Hold on.
They're just walking up to Assum. Assum's trying to put on his dancing shoes. The knockup's on to leave. He's reloading. Oh, it ends up being a 1-for-1. But guess what? Not for much longer because the turnaround's here for EDG. Kair went back to lane. Guwon knows his goose is cooked. And Zhuo hooks the turret, but gets stunned. And Zhuo with the auto attack on the way out gets it done. EDG break this early game open.
Yep. Great roam from this rookie. And you can see the early game potential from a Trundle, but Xinyan being there is massive. I was going to say that NIP, you got to be careful because they're the ones with the engage potential. EDG, the way they start team fights is more or less, I run at you in a straight line, maybe Chains of Corruption as a TP, and actually, we're not done.
Hang on. Hoya's on his way in. Gonna get him off this dragon, 3,000 HP, and EDG have realized that they can't do it. They tried to get greedy when the turn was not theirs, and NIP will be able to get the second dragon of the game.
Taken down.
Maybe they did it. 75 gold for the dragon. Nice. We love that. All right.
That's like the personal gold, right? Is that everyone? Does everyone get 75, or is it just the killer?
It's just the killer for that one. We used to give
enough?
gold out on dragons.
Yeah.
In fact,
I like
that's the
this one
only
better.
thing that dragon used to do.
So
it was really annoying.
Varus,
Okay.
which is the new on-hit build, if I'm not mistaken. But he's got Comet and Tier and movement speed boots, which tells me that I don't know what's going on. I hope this is an on-purpose cook. Like, we're going to go Shiv for wave clear for auto attacks through the early game, maybe, and then pivot into later on, like, you know, rested little lethality build, maybe even sell a Shiv later. That would be cool. If this is an accident, yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. But
hey, listen, you shamed Hoya. You shamed Hoya in game 1, all right?
I did.
Leave is currently 3-1. You stop doubting. You stop doubting the LPL decisions that are made. Remember,
I mean,
crazy is our game.
Did fully carry that game, like with the lethal tempo alone. So maybe this Shiv is gonna do some massive work.
Oh, wait. Remember, Shiv grants on hit. You're just gonna tag everybody with your W. You're gonna just deal a little bit of increased damage to everybody in these team fights. Okay, I can see it. We'll see how effective it actually is as the game goes on. Herald's up in about a minute, and that's where we could see our first bit of effectiveness out of the Shiv from Leave. Kair really getting taken to school by Xinyan. There's the pillar, he'll hop over it, gets slowed up, will be able to survive without too much of an issue. Meanwhile, Hoya on the wrong side of the turret here, but ZDZ knows that's not the fight he wants to take, especially with Hoya having not only the Trinity Force, but the Bramble Vest on top.
I guess my concern is that sometimes in these early fights, you're only really getting off 1 or 2 abilities. You know, you're ulting someone, bursting them down. But I can definitely see the potential. See what Leave can do with this build. He is really far ahead, as all in top.
Hoya got stunned up. ZDZ's away from his turret, so Hoya's going to flash on him. Got that Dominus out. Hoya just trying to get his passive all the way stacked up. And the rest of EDG is here to spoil the party. The revive is there for Hoya, the Grim Deliverance for the buffer, but he's going to get rooted up by the Karma. And heck, even Xiaohao is here too. They said, we'll take our top objective, and we'll take the other top objective too. Herald going to be started up by them.
That's no fun, man. I was locked in for the 1v1. Oh, ZDZ, watch out, he's got ult, but oh, Hoya. Watch out, ZDZ's got ult, but then Hoya's got res, and oh my goodness, the flash, and then the entire EDG roster shows up. So, I don't know, I was really excited.
He used the item that brings his entire team upstairs.
He did. I hate that. I hate when my enemies build that in ranked. I can't seem to find it in my item store. No matter what I do, my teammates don't come to my lane. But EDG do. Give a kill over to Xinyan. Evens up the lane. They get the Herald in back pocket, so they break open the tier 1 in top for that, and they can use the Herald somewhere else. It is Infernal Soul, which is pretty scary, especially with the range that EDG have. It also helps with the burst of NIP. I mean, Infernal Soul is just a really fun soul. Everybody knows that.
Oh yeah. Everybody loves doing damage, Jbetto.
It do be fun. Is this all time?
I think this is the... I think it is. I think it is all time, to be honest, because I'm like, that's certainly not what we had lined up after. Are we counting these games? No, we're not counting these games. That has to be all time. Well, we're going after Leave here. He's able to sidestep, lands the Chains of Corruption over Guwon. Not going to be too much more. We see NIP starting to get a little antsy. This is something that we've seen happen to them before, Jbetto, and they're really starting to feel like they're reaching a little bit here. This is now the third straight game where at the 15, 16, 17-minute mark, they're down a decent amount of gold.
It's just asking questions as well. Most of the gold is on Leave. And by most, I mean literally all, because the Karma gold doesn't matter. Guwon and Hoya pulling it back a little bit. So good to see the top side of NAP actually doing well this game, as opposed to the last two, where EDG have been on top. But yeah, NAP just asking questions, seeing if EDG have the answers. This time they do. You know, Leave respects and flashes. That'll be down. Very immobile, the Varus, but Dragon's up. Xiaohao sniffing out a bit of these wards, clearing them out. EDG have Prior in their lane, so they're around this Dragon first.
All right, gonna go down. Hoya managing to chop his way toward it. The Dragon will go over to EDG, 2-1. Not too bad so far. Again, you're just trying to build up to that Infernal Soul, and you've got a lot of scaling here. You know, that Victor is big scaling champions. And is about to have the scaling spoiled potentially, although Xiaohao is going to come through and they're going to try to turn this around onto Guwon right now. Very low. The knockup is there to try to interrupt it, but he goes down regardless, and NIP can't find anything.
I got to respect both top laners TPing in there, but yeah, it's still Trundle tax time. If he's there, he ults you, you die. Herald's used here. This will very easily break this tower. He's actually going to do the drive past early. Going to crash on this inner turret. And
knockup's there. Just one more. Yeah, EDG consistently trying to get more and squeeze more out of this play. Got the Dragon. Don't get more damage on this turret. And the gold lead that was 1.5k is now increased to 3,000. EDG really putting the foot on the gas.
This is an interesting TP here from Care. He's actually going sort of behind Leave. See if he can find an angle. Remember, Leave no flash, but Leave playing it pretty smart, positioning around his jungler so that he can get a base off. This is 3 games in a row where EDG have had winning early games. I know that mostly it was the top side in game 1 and game 2, mostly game 2. This time it's not, but it is Leave with this big lead, showing off why everyone fears this Varus, as Care takes pretty decent chunk, but doesn't get hit by the Chains of Corruption, so won't die. Had flash as well, so that was a little closer. Probably ends up fine regardless, but yeah, the game's slowed down again. We had pretty interesting couple of fights, and then we're already 20 minutes into this game. 3 dragons, 2-7, a bit of a gold lead, but nothing really has broken the game open yet. This gold lead is big, but if Leave dies, which is very possible, because remember, there's a lot of catch, there's a lot of dive. Leave doesn't have Edge of Night yet, so he is very vulnerable, especially when his flash is down like now. So this gold lead could evaporate very quickly if Leave gets caught.
Remember, he does have a tendency to not be in the right place at the right time and get himself picked off. So we'll see if that comes into play here in Game 3. Jbetto, it feels like the 3rd time that I'm seeing a very similar score. EDG 7 kills and IP 2. 3. At one point they had 4 in Game 2. but it's been relatively the same. EDG have been really in control of these early games, and NIP have consistently been on the back foot. And I don't really think they have the scaling in this particular game compared to EDG. They're going to try to make a catch play onto Xiaohao here. Teleports are coming through, but Kara doesn't really have the damage for right now. The shielding is there, and now we're going to look for the turnaround. Sinyan going to go in, but Guwon's going to go after him, and now it's split off from the rest of his team as Zhuo got caught out. It's a disaster play for NIP. They may have realized that they have nothing here in this third game, and EDG will start the Baron.
Cares behind them. 3 alive. Maybe a potential to try to stop this Baron. There is enough damage from Assum and Hoya, but this Baron feels already gone.
Awesome. Care. Hoya trying to get in, but Hoya's down to half HP. Xiaohao getting very low, but ZDZ just trying to attract some attention. Sinyan trying to just keep them at arm's length, and the Baron will be secured for EDG. A now 4,000 gold lead. Jbetto, this game 3 is looking much like game 1 did.
Yeah, I know that the Varus range is really hard to deal with, but if NIP feel like they're running out of time, I don't know if I agree with them. Wukong scales well, and will start doing better into Trundle as he becomes tankier, and has a much easier time closing the gap onto things like Victor and onto Varus Karma. If Care can approach from a smart angle, he'll do a ton of damage and one-shot the backline. Assum's got range. Zhuo's got a bunch of catch potential. I think this NIP team comp is fine to play for dragons and get items, but instead, NIP feel like they need to look for an aggressive play, and the instant TP from Sinyan, who's had a pretty decent series despite this being his 2nd ever LPL game. What is this? This is his 5th ever individual game in the LPL, so he's playing really well despite all that. And NIP, on that chase, after Guwon's used his tools, used his ult, they kind of just fall apart. This is Infernal Soul Point going over to EDG. There can't possibly be a contest. You can't walk in to a comp like this. So NIP, now you are running out of time. You've given Baron over. You've given Infernal Soul over. The gold lead's grown to 4.5k now. I feel like we're back at game 1.
This is all EDG do with the Baron. Not all hope is lost. Problem is they got 1 minute and 20 seconds left in a big wave forming down on this bottom side with multiple members coming in to make sure that this turret is secured. So EDG playing the map quite well at this point in the game. Jbetto nearly 5,000 gold, and you know it's time for Trundle to start whacking away at those turrets. Assum is going to root them up, but they just don't have any follow-up for the moment here. Nothing NIP can really do to stop the onslaught of EDG. Cares on a side lane, desperately trying to get some gold into himself. He's just doesn't have any damage in his build right now, and with all the armor that's being built over on the side of EDG, he's got to be the guy to do the damage.
And 1,000 of this gold lead is on a Karma, and having items on Karma early is nice, getting these early spikes, but that gold lead doesn't really mean anything. It's a 2,000 gold lead on Leave, and close to 1,000 on Xiaohao. And that's decent, but there will be a time where we get to a similar position as last game. There isn't as much damage for NIP, but there's enough. Jin, as he scales, gets an absurd amount of AD and can do ridiculous damage. Care can do the same level of output, does have the Shadow Flame now. And Guwon, again, has a great matchup into champions like Victor Varus, because you can catch them so easily, you can gap close so easily. I feel like there's a world in which, because Varus doesn't have Edge of Night, and there's not a ton to protect him, if Leave dies, as Guwon might be doing right now, should have Trickster Spirit, get over the wall. Or the Warrior Trickster, I can't even remember what the name is, something, he's tricky. But I think if Leave dies, EDG are still in a really uncomfortable position.
See, here's where we differ, Jbetto. I don't think so. I think that EDG have plenty of damage elsewhere, plenty of utility coming out of the Karma to be able to deal with that sort of thing. Maybe right now, if it happened, it's not great because Sinyan just on these 2 burn items, so you're looking to get just a lot of rotations in. But once he picks up his 3rd item is where you're going to be like, okay, it doesn't matter that our Varus is dead. Our Victor is just going to be able to take over a fight because EDG can just buy so much space for him.
Well, we'll have to see how these team fights go. It's going to come down to execution, right? If Leaf does die, if Sunyan dies, then we're in a really uncomfortable position for EDG. But if this backline can stay alive, if the front line can continue moving forward, providing space, it's going to be really hard for NIP to play their fights out. There is still that gold lead, and there is still the threat of this Infernal Soul. If that ends up going over to EDG, NIP's chances in this game become much, much slimmer. One of, if not the strongest souls. I would say definitely the most impactful team fighting soul in terms of raw output, just because it makes you do more damage, especially the individual Infernal Drakes giving you the percent damage increase, percent ADAP. So very impactful on champions such as Victor and Varus. But there is this time, you know, we have a minute until Baron, we have a minute and a half until this soul. Awesome would love to finish this Infinity Edge. 3 items on Jin would be lovely. I assume he's, what is it? It's like 1,300, maybe more, after BF Sword. So he's got quite a bit of gold to pick up. But like last game for Sunyan, Awesome needs this spike. It would be massive for the team fights and for this game.
Jbetto, I regret to inform you, I think it's more like 2250 with only a BF sword. Because you gotta build the pickaxe and you gotta build the crit cloak. So we'll see if he's got that much in the inventory. It's certainly possible, especially with the fact that he's got 300 CS right now.
Can I get a discount?
You might just pick up the regular components. You know, you can get cash back, but you can't get a discount. He's not going to be able to finish that off.
This is 625.
He is,
yes,
I know just a little bit of gold away. Now, will NIP properly play around this and say, hey, give me everything. Give everything into your AD carry, and you hope that EDG does not start the dragon. The problem is, I think you're priced in.
That's my wave. I think he absolutely could have given that over, but says, no, it's mine. There's not enough time either way to get one wave in base, unless Awesome has it right now, and even then, the Infernal Soul is spawning. Care is disconnected.
Okay, they're going to go all in on CDZ here, but he's going to get a stun off on Awesome. So that Redemption did a lot of damage. Here comes Guwon with a bit of a flank. They find ZDZ. Hoya stunned up, also going to get rooted, and his passive fell off.
Wow.
Leave recognized it and takes him out.
Yep, great patience from Leave. Top lane, 1-for-1.
Round 2. Care wants to go in, goes to the other side, back and forth, flashes away, still alive, but look at the side of Xiaohao. Sinyan makes Care die. Awesome can only run and gets chopped. As Xiaohao takes a bite out of crime, EDG get the ace, and they are divided on what they want to do here. And it looks like they will take the soul and call it a day.
Yeah, it's the 1-for-1, and then a poor execution from Care. Didn't hit any of his abilities. Awesome just doesn't do enough damage at this point in the game. They can't touch Leave. And Xiaohao is just running everybody down. Now has a 2,000 gold lead for himself. That wasn't there before, but it is now. What else is here is this Infernal Soul, and most likely Baron. And there was a massive gold lead and the Soul and the Baron last game, but I don't think there's enough damage to really get through EDG this game for an IP. CDZ does a decent amount of work. Really smart patience from Hoya. From Leave to kill Hoya here. But Guwon uses the Cyclone way too early, doesn't hit anybody. That's worn off now. And instead of maybe playing this slow, kiting back, letting his support base, Care goes in, misses his E here, then hits the wall, then hits the, like, not the best execution from Care, leaving Sunyan untouched. Guwon gets chased out by Xiaohao. Really well played from EDG. They don't let anything NIP does catch them off guard. And this is going to be 10,000 gold very quickly. The Infernal Soul, which is much stronger, plus this Baron. I think this game is pretty much over.
Just no damage on the side of NIP. Care and Awesome just don't have anything in the tank. Guwon unable to get ahead. Hoya had that one play up top that it looked like he was going to be able to get a kill, and they just get shut down by EDG working as a unit. EDG have played better as a team this entire series so far. We're going to go in on Sinyan. There's that Cyclone, second one coming through. They're able to pick him off with a big shutdown. They're going to look for ZDZ. ZDZ slicing and dicing, able to get out the back door, but now there's Xiaohao and Zhuo. There's that Grim Deliverance as Hoya is continuing to frontline. He got that passive off. Care desperately trying to catch up. Fourth shot hits Zhuo, gets him very low, but the turnaround is here. Hoya flashes forward, gets the kill. They found the knockup. Hang on,
wait,
just a minute,
Wait,
NIP fight back from way back in their base, and they get an ace.
What? Is there enough time to end? Look at the wave in bot side. I don't think there is, but still, that's gonna alleviate all 10,000 of the gold lead in one fight. They have Baron, Infernal Soul, and a 10,000 gold lead. And NIP are able to find a catch onto Sun Yan, and the fight is beautiful. There's definitely not enough time to end the game, but the gold lead is completely gone. A great ult from Zhuo. Guwon's around the corner, and this time the Cyclone goes to perfect use. Sun Yan dies instantly, and that's a 1k shutdown. And I'm thinking here, surely there's not enough damage that NIP can get through. Surely EDG have enough damage, but it's actually not hitting. Leave is not hitting anybody. Xiaohao is not hitting anybody. This time the res goes off. This fourth shot one-shots Shui from half HP. And Hoya with a beautiful flash pull past Xiaohao. What a turnaround! Again, I had just finished saying I didn't think it was possible.
I just finished saying that EDG's been the better team in all these games, and I honestly think that's still true, but NIP, as we said in Game 2, have plenty of fight left in them. Now all of a sudden we got a game on our hands once again here, Jbetto. That gold has been evened up. Guess what? Kares finished his Rabadons. He does have damage now. Zhuo is forced to flash away. Awesome. Now at 100% crit, he's going to start dealing some serious damage. Now you have to really be careful. Again, consistency is the key. Can you get your leads and can you keep them? EDG's been able to get them, but so far they have shown it not only in Game 2 but out here in Game 3 that they have struggled to keep them.
That's a great gold lead. We've seen 2 of these now. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this Varus build. I understand the Shiv, but the Shojin, not typically what he's building. I would really love into a comp like this, the Edge of Night. I think it's really good. There are catch tools, but not too many. But this is turning into another Hoya MVP performance. If NIP walk away with this series, I know that's a far away right now, but he would absolutely be getting player of the series from me. A 3,000 individual gold lead. He's got 4 completed items, plus this Bramble Vest. EDG do still have Infernal Soul, which is a large portion. So this is Gathering Storm, is why they're showing this. It's double adaptive force, which is normally what you go on Jhin anyway. But it's Gathering Storm Jhin, which is pretty normal, meaning that the longer this game goes, the more AD Assum is going to get. And Jins normally have a ton of AD anyway, but with Gathering Storm, if the game goes 40 or 50 minutes, he's going to have a ton. Elder in 1 minute though, and summoner spells all around except for Hoya's are available. Guwon has the GA massive pickup before this fight.
Remember, Jbetto, the winner not only goes into the bracket stage, but locks Group Ascend for Split 3. The loser will go down to Group Nirvana. And with the way that these games have been so back and forth and a lot of inconsistency, you really need to win Game 2 here. Guwon's been caught. Knockups are there. Hang on. The turnaround. Zhuo goes down.
Oh.
Guwon's in GA, and they're so healthy on the side of EDG. Guwon flashes away, but he goes down. EDG may have just stamped their mark here on Game 3. Care being chased down, goes between worlds, able to escape for the moment, but Xiaohao knows he's sniffing him out. He knows he's around here somewhere. Care able to sneak out the back door, but that's neither here nor there because it's a 5v3, Jbetto. This Elder's up in 10 seconds, but I think EDG are trying to end the game.
Yep. Assum has Flash Barrier and ult, so might be able to do something, but Can needs to get back quick. He has done so. Xiaohao can't believe he didn't die there. 1 wave to play on, the wave's dead. This second wave here coming in, but the respawn timers are low enough that EDG feel dissuaded from this. Now, Elder is up, yes, but it's 15 seconds on the Baron. Guwon is about the same amount of time, and IP need to be careful as they walk in, but they can't give over this Elder.
Big damage from Leave. putting himself in a spot to do more poke, but also putting himself in a spot to potentially be caught out. Zelder then started up, about 10k HP, steadily dropping. Guwon leaving the base. Hoya's gonna slide over the wall. 6,000, 5,000, 4,000, 3,000, lower and lower it goes. Grim Deliverance lands. It's secured by EDG. Hoya trying to get his passive, but he's blasted away by the Dragon's Breath. Assum is being run at by Xiaohao and company. Guwon with the turnaround, but he watches his AD carry fall as Guwon will fall all the same. Care trying to run for the hills. A triple kill for Leave as he's ready to leave game 3 with the second win for EDG under his belt. Care getting run down the invisible pillar. The bird is enough.
And EDG will move in another convincing fashion, albeit some slip-ups, to series point, to ascend point, and to playoffs point on the back of Leave and Xiaohao once again.
These games have been insane, Jbetto. It's a 2-1 lead for EDG. Everybody thought NIP was going to come in and clean it up. I picked NIP to win. Internally, when we were doing our story meetings, we had some conversations on what we thought. I did say that this would be the second closest match in the play-ins. I did not think it was going to go 5. I did not think that by game 4, EDG would have a 2-1 lead, but here we are.
I mean, I said on the podcast that this was like the second easiest. This is
I heard.
NIP are going to 3-0.
I was listening while I was at work today.
And obviously not. I will say, like I said earlier, I have gotten all my predictions wrong so far. And this would be the third one incorrect if... I'm not counting series score, but this would be the third one wrong. So a really good start to my predictions of the LPL. But a great game from EDG. The stumble around that siege, not pretty.
Happened again.
But other than that, pretty clean game. Xiaohao on this Trundle looked great. Leave looked unstoppable. I was concerned about the build. And I think that there is a possibility that you get caught over and over again, being immobile, having no flash down at times. But EDG protected Leave, and he never died.
Yeah, I think he died maybe once this game. He positioned generally pretty well. I had a lot of good poke. Thought he played a great game. Jbetto, do you think it's player of the game worthy?
Oh, it's a tough one.
I agree.
I think there's, like, my arguments for Leave would be his positioning. Played really well. Like, we've seen this player over-aggressive at times. And I don't think that happened this game. My arguments for jungle are that after the early skirmishing where, you know, that level 1 where Xiaohao was behind, he ended up pulling it all the way back. Great cross-mapping, dictating the pace, some great pillars. I think it's the Leave for me, though. I don't think that the Trundle was impactful enough to warrant... I think the cook with the build was nice, even though I was a bit confused. Positioning was great. Got caught out around, you know, where the entire team got caught around, but the rest of Leave's gameplay was great. It's always good to be reminded why Varus is permanently banned.
It's always good to see Varus do good things coming out of the bottom lane, too. Again, this is, you know, a pick that we've often seen in the top lane. As it turns out, Varus Karma, pretty good. Again, we had a lot of questions about the draft. It just felt like EDG has continued to have better drafts than NIP. Again, they've been getting these early leads, but again, they haven't been able to hold them, right? This is we've seen it in game 1, you've seen it in game 2, and you saw it in game 3 right here, Jbetto. This series is certainly not over yet. Sometimes in a 2-1, you're like, you kind of know what's going to happen. But not with this series. It could legitimately go either way. But NIP are going to have to get their butts in gear real soon. You can't have another lifeless early game like that, especially for a team that comes in with such good plans most of the time and such a good early proactive strategy. And it feels like they're just kind of hampering themselves and playing a style that is not really theirs.
Yeah, there's also still maintained a very big jungle gap. It's not even really remotely close. Xiaohao is kind of just on Guwon. Again, the damage doesn't really show that, but that's a jungler's life in pro play. But yeah, Guwon just shut out of every game. He can't do anything. Had one good ult again, where NIP found their one fight win, and you can see it in the gold graph right there. But at the end of the day, that ended up just being a blip in the radar of EDG's win here. I think Sunyan is putting on a statement series. Not in terms
100%.
of carry, like I'm the best player in the world right now, but as a rookie who we were questioning, why is he here still? You know, is this the right player? The answer right now has been absolutely yes. There is a big difference in impact in the mid lane as well, and I think that Xiaohao is a part of that in giving Sunyan leads and allowing him to fight really well, but Sunyan's been playing lane really well, been playing fights really well. EDG look hot.
Yeah, they are so good right now. And, you know, everybody's just playing really well, right? We normally have things to say about, you know, Leave's positioning, right? We normally have things to say about ZDZ not really making an impact. And we haven't had to say any of those things. I think that EDG as a team have played really well today, and if they do end up winning the series, it's going to be damn well deserved, Jbetto. I mean, this was a team that like we just said, we did not think, most of us at least, that we're going to go through, and they are one game away from doing it against an NIP team that has taken series off of every single one of the top 4 teams in Group Ascent. BLG lost 2 series in the entirety of Split 2, and one of them was to NIP, and NIP, that cliff crumbling more and more, smaller and smaller, and they are about to fall, and they don't have anything to save them.
Yeah, no room for mistakes from now on. I mean, giving over the Varus and the Karma was definitely a choice. And, I mean, that if you're in a position where you cannot play the Karma and you're forced into Nautilus, who didn't look good this game, you need to be banning the Karma. You can't be giving it over. It's not an option. The lane is too unplayable, especially with a Trundle when you're just buffing him. I was a bit surprised that NIP decided to completely, like, I mean, the game is over, but they didn't wait. It was go over the wall, let's fight now. I get it, there's nothing you can do. I was expecting maybe to wait for Guwon to take a fight in a brush, maybe. Either way, EDG looking really good. If NIP have anything up their sleeve, now's the time to bring it out, because you're looking through the tunnel and you can see the words Nirvana, and IG is slumped on the side right next to the door. This would be a very crazy spree of upsets. It would be 2 in a row of Group Ascend teams getting demoted after a split that NIP had a decent split. This was not a team that anyone is saying looks like they need to be in Group Nirvana. The only team who that was being said about made it in so far.
Yeah, man, a really crazy turn of events that happened there. And again, we said it at the top of the broadcast, perhaps Thunder Talk winning over IG maybe inspired the troops of Group Nirvana, right? Maybe they're just like, hey, if Thunder Talk can 3-0 IG, I mean, we can win 3 games against NIP. Leave getting the job done here.
Yep.
A huge game for him. He has only ever been on 2 organizations ever, NIP and EDG. Took it to his former team here in Game 3 and has put his current team on match point.
32% damage percent, not bad.
Not bad at all.
Really well played. I feel like the bot lane from EDG has been pretty solid so far throughout this series. Yeah, NIP need to find something. Whether it's leave open some of the things you've been banning, take their first pick, get a solid pick, or play something really experimental. Take like red side draft, take counter pick. Like let EDG walk into a trap that you've set up, get some good counter picks. I think it has to be with Hoya. I think Hoya has to pick up the slack where his team is dropping, and in that game too, it felt like he did a lot of that. His best champion being Na and Renekton, like the 2 most played, now being gone. Not that comforting of an idea, but That's the life of a best of 5. NIP scraping the barrel here. They need to do something.
The Scion is gone, the Jace is gone, the Varus is gone. Very quickly, Hoya is running out of good picks to be able to help his team. The engine of NIP has completely seized in this series. Assum and Zhuo are the ones who get it going early that allow Guwon to do these things, to run amok around the map, but that has not happened. Assum and Zhuo have not been winning the lane. They have been struggling. There's a big reason why NIP is in the spot they are in, Jbetto. They, as you said, have to figure something out. They're going to go back to the drawing board while we take a break. Could be the final game of the first series of the day. EDG 1 win away from Group Ascend in the play-ins. We'll see if NIP can